Let's go live. All right, we are live. Welcome to Weather Center Live. It's beginning to look a lot like springtime is going to be the caption for this video. It is Thursday, February 15th, 2024, so this live stream is going to be a bit of a combination. We're going to talk North America weather, and we're going to delve back into the tropics for our mid-month tropical update, just as we've been doing recurringly on this channel, guys. And the main reason I want to dive a little bit deeper into that is because I've been doing a little bit more homework in the background, which is what I usually always do, let's be honest here. There's never a point in time where I'm not doing homework. Sometimes it puts gray hairs on my head, sometimes it stresses me out, but you know what? I do it all for the love and the passion and the science. And I've discovered a couple more principles and a couple more variables I wanted to kind of go over with you guys tonight, as well as somebody reached out to me on Instagram and asked if I could finally do a preliminary of the preliminary forecast of what my expectation or what my outlook is for the tropics and what we could look at as we timestamp through the different phases of the tropics and even before that. So we're going to start off with the United States. We are definitely underneath a zonal pattern. Pardon me. We are definitely underneath a zonal pattern. You can see our systems are shooting off west to east, moving due west to east, as a matter of fact, across the United States, which is beautiful to see, honestly. This means that they are very low amplitude. They don't have a lot of strength or intensity with them. And that also, unfortunately, for our snow enthusiasts out there, our snow fans, means we're probably not going to get a lot of snowfall or wintry weather. We're going to get some cold temperatures. We're going to get some snowfall, some snow drifts out there, maybe a couple inches in some isolated areas. But all in all, we're not going to see very, very big pileups, at least not right now. Not right now, and I'm here to tell you, and there's a few other sources finally digging into this and exploring the possibility that spring may be here within the next couple of weeks. The meteorological springtime starts on March 1st, and the actual physical season starts shortly thereafter, and it does look like a lot of our models are suggesting cold air is going to retreat to the north. We're not going to see as much snowfall, and these baroclinic systems that are going to be coming through are going to be packing a punch, and we're going to explore some possibilities in that department as well here in a moment. Let's get some more folks in here. We'll see if anybody else joins up. We have 15 viewers. I finally have the stats working again here on the live stream. We got 15 viewers, 7 likes. Thank you very much for those of you dropping the likes. Sam Mastapasta, thank you very much for joining. Zenful, hello there. How close are we? Nice to see you. Yorkie Terrier Lol XD, hopefully you come back into the stream here in a moment, and hopefully we get a few more people to join in. I figured yesterday was going to be very quiet in the weather sphere, not only because we don't have a lot going on, but at the same time it was Valentine's Day. So I know a lot of folks, even though it was in the middle of the week, Wednesday, they still had a lot of plans, and there's folks out there who I know of who are continuing their plans. So we'll see what kind of a turnout we have tonight. If not, no big deal. No big deal at all. It's still the slow season. Hopefully YouTube lifts this algorithmic punishment, this trap that I've gotten myself into. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Griffin, hello there. Farm Girl, I am ready for spring as well. That is for certain. And Linda, hello there. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. So this is where we stand. The El Nino subtropical jet, as we've been saying, like clockwork since October, November, December, January, and now middle of the month of February. It is still there. It is likely to remain there until sometime in April, if not May. We will finally see it go bye-bye, if not some residual subtropical effects, because we will be further into the springtime. So truthfully, don't be surprised if it doesn't entirely go away, but I am ready to definitely see it phase away as we get out of winter and start heading into transition season. And I should have titled this video something along those lines, or put it in the thumbnail somewhere, that it does look like transition season is looming on the horizon. And when I say transition season, folks, that is when we really start to see the change between the big seasons. I'm not talking like a spring to summer or a summer to fall. I mean like big transitions. We're going to go from non-convective slowly back into convective season. And what that means is we're going to have a lot more garden variety thunderstorms. We're going to have a lot more favorable air mass conditions for regular thunderstorms to pop off wherever, especially over the plains, the south, the Midwest. We're going to go from talking about winter storm snow conditions in the Midwest, just like we got a brief glimpse of with that one storm that dropped 2 tornadoes up there about a little over a week ago. We're going to start seeing that in recurring fashion, and that's exactly what we're also going to highlight tonight. We have one Clipper system transitioning west to east just south of the James Bay, Hudson Bay area in Canada, meeting up with another weak, unstable wave, packing some snowfall with it. The Midwest and the Great Lakes definitely saw some good snowfall with this. I do believe it is probably still ongoing, some good lake effect there. You can kind of see traces of it in the infrared. Then we also have this weak baroclinic system trying to shoot its way across the Central Plains through the southern Midwest Appalachians before exiting off the northeast coastline in the very same fashion with which it made landfall on the west coast. And then finally, last but not least, we cannot forget about our west coast folks. We do have our baroclinic system moving in through here. You can see it kind of washing out over the northern and central Rockies, providing them with lots of higher terrain snowfall. They are still seeing snow out there, but we also have a new Pineapple Express What is going on now? We were off to a roaring start. Now we're slurring our words. So I'm going to go ahead and pump the brakes a little bit. Let's slow it down, get a little more casual. We have our Pineapple Express, our atmospheric river setup, beginning to take hold once again for western central California and the northern half of the state, as well as parts of Oregon. If you look, it looks like we had some cold core convection try to pop up in Washington state as that first baroclinic/mature system pushed through, right up in through there where I have my circle drawn. And then we have very gratuitous onshore flow and moisture activity that's just going to continue to funnel right across the Bay Area, right across northern California. I wonder if David Schlotthauer is reporting on this. I wouldn't be surprised if he is. At least he should be. Another significant weather event for his local area up there in the Bay Area, California. Hope he's doing well. I haven't heard from him in a while. Pat's Path Predictor, welcome in. Thank you very much for joining. We're doing very well. Good to see you as always as well, my friend. Nissan Junkie, hopefully Florida will get a break from severe weather. We've been getting slammed nearly every week. So Nissan Junkie, depending on where you are, Central Florida has really missed the mark. Central Florida has been very uneventful, at least in my neck of the woods here in the Four Corners area. We haven't gotten diddly squat, to tell you the truth. All winter time, it's been very uneventful. The Panhandle, South Florida, Southeast Florida, and even closer to the Jacksonville area with that last upper low cutoff low that progressed through about 3 weeks ago. Now, gosh, time is flying. Feels like I was just reporting on that. Was it about 2 weeks ago now? 2 to 3 weeks ago we had that cutoff low move across the south. Was supposed to be a pretty big weather event. And a lot of the severe weather ended up unfolding in areas that were not designated at all. So it goes to show that sometimes our models are a little loopy. But you know what? We do our best. We definitely do our best. All right, moving right along. Let's get into the GFS. We're going to take a look at the 18Z run because there's something very neat that I want to show you guys. It is a hypothetical solution. And when I say hypothetical, there is some hype peppered in there because if this does end up unfolding, it will definitely be a very, very hellacious, a very significant severe weather event for a large majority of the Great Lakes, the Midwest, the northern central southern plains, and for us here in the South and the Southeast. So this is where we stand right now, and I want you guys to pay close attention to these blue blobs, as we're all very well aware of, and we've seen it across the weather sphere since the tropical season ended. Snow. Snow every which way the eye can see. Now, also take note of what's happening down here. Unfortunately, this good old, almost pseudo-atmospheric river setup associated with our subtropical jet, it ain't really doing much. As of right now, Storm Prediction Center ain't really thinking we're going to get a lot out of it outside of a good rain event for much of us here in the Florida Peninsula. And no chance for severe, maybe some very sporadic cracks of thunder every now and again, some bolts of lightning that we might see out there for some eye candy as we go through this swath of rainfall. But let's go ahead and start progressing through time. As we move through, you can see we do have another good push of polar air. Now, initially, our models were thinking this was going to be another Arctic outbreak. This was actually supposed to be where the 528 line was, and the 540 line was supposed to be kicking right through where about I have my pink marker drawn all the way through to southern Texas. But as you can see, our Arctic boundary is still way back up in through here. So it doesn't want to come back down, and it doesn't look like it's going to join the party. It looks like Arctic air is going to be completely absent for the month of February, and I can honestly say that with a decent bit of confidence. At this point, none of our ensemble models, none of our climatology models, none of our long-range operational models, none of them are really hinting at another Arctic outbreak or any kind of significant extreme cold plunge. In fact, they're all starting to whisper to us the opposite. So as we continue through time, you can see we have that pseudo-river setup establishing itself over the subtropical jet. We have this very weak and I mean very weak, unstable wave along the nose of this polar high pressure moving across the northern central Rockies, the Intermountain West Great Basin area situated back up in through here. And we will be below freezing predominantly for the upper tier United States through the Midwest. The Great Lakes, once again, because of the wind component, are seeing some lake effect, so we could see some more snowfall near to the Buffalo area, the Michigan Peninsula, maybe parts of Wisconsin and across the Midwest as you get up towards Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Virginia as well, and Kentucky, with a little bit peppering into the northern periphery of Tennessee, with it cutting off just in time once again. Unfortunately, to my folks out there in the Carolinas, as of right now, our preliminary snowcasts look like it's going to keep you right up along the border of the state. So the Carolinas are once again going to dodge any snowfall. And you know what? Based on what we're seeing right now for the rest of February, I would be astonished if anybody has the audacity to try to report to you guys, major snow, Carolinas, because I'm not seeing it. So like I said, say goodbye to the snow blips here. You're gonna see them very rapidly start to disappear. So as we continue to transition through time, notice even right now, guys, nothing's out there. There's really nothing out there. And take a look at these thickness lines. Our 540 line, the freezing line, is all the way up here with a little bit of the lee of the Appalachian cold air damming going on. But look at that. For all intents and purposes, we almost have a pseudo-springtime pattern in place. We got a big old subtropical ridge ridging up. Look at where our subtropical air is, folks. It's all the way up into almost the southern periphery of the Central Plains, breaching the Four Corners area. We have our 564 and our 570 thickness line just to the south of that. So spring is trying. It's trying to come up and throw some uppercuts and get winter out of the way. It's probably tired of the snow hype like the rest of us. And as you continue through time, it really, look at that, it doesn't really do a whole lot. We get another weak, unstable wave according to the GFS. Pete Berg, welcome in, sir. Thank you very much for joining. Kevin, howdy from Tallahassee. Good to see you. Tony, do you think they'll be able to race Sunday? We'll get to that, Tony. We'll get to that. I definitely want to talk about that as well because I'm already personally rearranging my schedule to accommodate for a Monday race. We'll talk about that here in a moment. But again, guys, take a look at this. I mean, if you look, this does look like big snow, but if you look closely and you look a little bit between the lines, this is all Canadian snowfall. Nothing for the United States. That's how far north our freezing line has retreated. And even despite this 995 millibar low, we're only just barely getting to freezing, guys, over the northern plains and the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes. All this is still subtropical air down here. So very, very interesting to see the pattern genuinely switching. You know, we hear all this major pattern flip, crazy change in the weather. This here, guys, like I've mentioned before in previous live streams and other full-fledged segments, this here is a definitive pattern change. We're going from a winter-style setup to almost a wannabe, is what I'll call it, springtime setup, and it gets better than that. So as we continue through time, look at this. Our freezing line is now way into Canada. And then once again, kind of confined to the northeast United States, maybe a little bit of a residual snow effect thanks to the wind component up in through here, some lake effect. But look at how the entirety of the United States now is above freezing. And I'm talking at all atmospheric levels, guys. I'm not just talking about at the surface. We have now had that wintertime style air mass, the polar front jet, move all the way back up into Canada. We have not seen this in months, to tell you the truth. We've been seeing consistently the 540 line doing something like this, kind of wandering through interior CONUS, maybe getting up into the northern U.S., and then definitely troughing down as far south as our neck of the woods here in the deep south and the southeast. And of course, we still have some we still have some snow indications granted over the Rocky Mountains because, again, we're having to go 5, 6, 7,000 feet up in the air to finally reach that freezing level. So that's not unusual. That's why I keep mentioning a pseudo springtime pattern. And if we go just a little bit further in time, this is where it gets real interesting. So check this out. And I know that this is a hypothetical solution here brought to us by the GFS, and I am anticipating change, but I'll also supplement this by mentioning this is being captured by a lot of our long-range products, not only the operational models, but the ensembles as well, and the probabilities of some sort of an unstable low-pressure system forming up well to the north of where we have typically seen them establish themselves is probable. And the reason why I bring this up is this is a trademark springtime setup. This is a trademark springtime severe weather, and I'm talking a significant severe weather setup across the plains, across the Midwest. If we were to have something along these lines unfold with such a deep occluded low, that's another reason why I wanted to bring this up to you guys. This is beautiful in my opinion. This is wonderful. I love to analyze for stuff like this. Look at this, a textbook cold pocket, 540, deep occluded barotropic low. We have our cold front moving all the way through here. There's our warm front. We have such a rope-like occluded front. It's gorgeous. I love seeing systems like this. I'm not even going to lie. This is just as much as I admire major hurricanes with their perfect symmetry. I love to look at systems like this that just look gorgeous on the satellite. They're so much fun to analyze because if I go over to College of DuPage real quick, I have the CFS pulled up currently because that's been making its rounds. I'll go ahead and switch over to not the Atlantic, David. Come on, you're getting a little too excited for the tropics. You're clicking on the Atlantic. There's nothing out there yet. Come over to the Theta E and watch this. So we're going to go quickly through time and then check this out. As we get into the 28th, look at that occluded system. Look at that. That's gorgeous. And it might not look like much to you guys because it's very, very washed out. It's very blurred because we're just looking at the Theta E. But if you look, we have our cold front right in through here. Look at the change in the winds. We have a bit of a neutral point in the wind flow right in through here. And then here's our warm front back in through here, moving over the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and eventually trying to penetrate the Northeast. We got a little bit of dammed air, it looks like, up in that area, and it looks like the warm front even extends further off the shoreline for that matter. And then here's the center of the low with a wonderful purple front, drawn all the way around it. That is gorgeous. That is definitely a deep occluded low. There's a difference between an occluded low and a deep occluded low. Deep occluded lows are trademarked. They're textbook for providing us with that synoptic scale severe weather event. And I'm not talking severe weather in terms of gotta watch out for Dixie Alley, gotta watch out for this area. No, I'm talking severe weather like this. Like we're talking that whole area is gonna definitely be severe weather central. That's, again, if of course. We got a long time to kind of pick and pull. This is March 1st, guys, so we're not trying to put this in the forecast. We're not trying to make this seem like this is the end-all, be-all, definitive what's going to take shape. But a lot of us are watching. It's in the trends. It's in the models. It's in the ensembles, the ops, etc. It's in the probabilities. So we definitely have something to more or less look forward to. Oh, in my opinion, how close are we? This is wonderful. I love looking at stuff like this. This is that type of intense atmospheric phenomena that just redelivers that love for atmospheric science. To see a low start off so aggressive like a leaf and then see it transform into this just massive pinwheel thing. You guys ever go to the grocery store and see those filet of steaks that are pinwheeled up and they have the cheese on the inside and the filling? On the inside, the pinwheel steaks that you can get already pre-cut in the meat section of Publix, Walmart, etc. It's literally what it looks like. Literally what it looks like, and I bet you the satellite image on something like this, when we do get a chance to see it, is going to look immaculate. It'll look wonderful. Like I said, comparable to a Category 5 or any kind of major hurricane with wonderful symmetry. For my folks out there who, are into fitness, for example, the aesthetic of the human body and the competition of bodybuilding, it just astounds people. It's kind of the same principle here. The aesthetic of these deep occluded lows, the aesthetic of the tropical cyclones is gorgeous. And then the phenomena we get with them is just huge. It's crazy. TRG Tornado, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It was great sitting in on your live stream. Lots of good information in there, buddy. I listened as much as I could while I was wrapping up the workday earlier. Mick and Marley, thank you very much for joining. Miss Leah Janelle, welcome back. Thankful to see you in here again. Kevin Rivera, but what does that mean that this winter is unusual and strange? Is it climate change? No, not necessarily climate change. Not at all. This is a combatant event between not only our El Nino, keeping our subtropical ridge, our subtropical jet in the picture, preventing a lot of that cold air from coming down, keeping us very mild, very moist down here in the south and the southeast. And on top of that, we have very, very, very abnormal other oceanic oscillations and temperatures across the globe. And I do think that's why our subtropical jet has wandered between a strong El Nino signature and almost a neutral Nino La Nina signature because of the effects of all the different hot waters on the environment. It's very detrimental to the way our patterns will set up climatologically. And that's kind of why it's been very difficult, I feel, to forecast for some of these big weather events. So Looks like a severe weather event ripe for Brett Arnold, aka Tornado Whisperer, to be chasing. I do agree. This would be Chase Central. This would be the first, in my opinion. Like, we've had tornado outbreaks, 6, 10, 12, etc. tornadoes reported in a general area with the same synoptic skill driver. But this here would definitely be a more classic tornado outbreak. Bad tornadoes down here, bad tornadoes down here, bad tornadoes likely up and through here, alongside damaging winds, straight line winds, hail, etc. So we shall see. We're definitely keeping a close eye on this. If you look at the 12Z, the 12Z did not have it going as deep occluded as that new run did. I mean, a little bit. This model solution is even more intense if you guys look at it. If I were to analyze this, you can see we start off with a very small occlusion, a cold front already getting to wrap up into itself, and our warm front kind of looking all sort of disorganized. And watch this. 1, 2, 3. Now, this is insanity. Check this out. Now, our occluded front is huge. We have a weak cold boundary right in through here. Weak warm sector. You can see it in the isobaric or the pressure troughing just off the northeast coast, kind of skewing through the Manhattan Island out into the Atlantic. And then here's our long outstretched occluded front right in through there. That's wild. That means that the jet has definitely left this system. Looks like we have some more internal cyclogenesis picking up right in through here along the front range of the Rockies. And our jet that is left over supporting this is way out here. And our barotropic low is just kind of sitting there doing whatever it wants in the cold sector. So very interesting stuff. It's been trending out there, and this could also be a big-time severe weather event. And this is also why I'm thinking spring could possibly be on the horizon, because we have not seen lows take this kind of a track in a long time. If you guys notice, we've had nothing but this going on most of the winter, or most of this going on most of the winter. And now notice how we're going to have that gigantic shift in the geometry and the geography of where this stuff is going to go. So I don't know. Spring could be knocking on the door. We shall see. To be determined. Let's see. What else did I want to show you guys? So this is also what's been making its rounds. Oh, you meant the way I drew it? Yeah, I can't draw with Epic Pen to save my life. Thanks for stopping by. It gave me a shock seeing you in my stream. I have been watching you since 2K from the start of last hurricane season. Can't wait to see your forecast for this season. Well, thank you very much, TRG Tornado. It was a pleasure to be in there, that's for certain. I'm very glad that YouTube actually recommended the live stream, as well as how close are we dropping the plug in there as well, which was wonderful. Happy to join. Again, lots of really good information for the pieces that I could definitely sit in and indulge on. Good conversation as well. This is also very... Oh, and congrats to 4,000 subscribers, dude. Definitely big congrats to that. Hopefully we can get more channels elevated like yours and ours, and a few other select ones out there who are not in the business of just kind of, entertainment as opposed to weather itself. But that's neither here nor there right now. This has also been very interesting. So if you look, our supercell parameters, according to the CFS, have been nil to none for much of February, and then boom, here we go. Lots of supercell parameters and big-time supercell parameters suddenly ramping up across the south and the southeast on a continuous basis, which also tells me it seems like the spring season is going to start to wander in, or at least the tornado season. The tornado season is going to slowly but surely start to step into the picture and say, how you doing? So we shall see exactly what shakes out. The European model has this in its sights as well. If we take a look here, it's not nearly as close. In fact, let's change the AOI. We'll go to North America because I'll show you the couple variables that I'm watching closely to boost my confidence in that big storm system for the end of the month. So if you go way out in time right here, this is what we're watching for. These are going to be the three main variables that we'll have to see what shakes out. So obviously, with spring, we know that we have a diffuse pattern across much of the United States. Here you have it. We've got jet energy here, we've got jet energy here, we've got jet energy here. So diffuse pattern, we can check that box. But on top of that, this is going to be our main guy. This right here could possibly be what ejects through the southwest and the four corners and eventually spits out along the front range into the central plains and turns into that big old rigmarole. So on top of this, if this continues to transition across the south, as we've mentioned, that's piece number one. Piece number two is going to be this ridge. If this ridge can continue to build, That means we're going to continue to see this deepen and pick this slow up and start to really deepen it across the Central Plains. That's going to be piece number 2. And then number 3, obviously, is this Jetmax. If this Jetmax continues to look robust and strong, it will amplify the pattern. It will bring the polar front jet back down to the south. It'll cut this area off, and that's exactly what we're looking for. If we can see this ridge build up and up and up and up until eventually becomes a broken off anticyclone, and we can get the polar front jet to come back down to the south, pick this puppy up as it interacts with a subtropical jet, then there we go. There we go. That'll be our ultimate that'll be our historical cyclogenesis. I'm just kidding. No, it's not going to be historical, but you guys know what I mean, the big picture. So we got 3 key parameters that we want to watch for. 1, 2, and 3. At least in the short to moderate term or the mid-range. We shall see. All right, we're 25 minutes after. Let's go ahead and head down to the southeast really quick for my Daytona 500 fans, and let's talk a little bit. Let's do some preliminary forecasting. In fact, let's go ahead and go over to our mesoscale models and take a look at some things. So the FV3 does not look very promising. Does not look very promising for the next couple of days. Not only does it not look very promising for anything exciting, but it also looks very, very discouraging for our Sunday race. Because as you can see here, this is already 7 p.m. Saturday night, and look at all this rainfall we still have to go through before, anybody can get on the racetrack. Daytona's right around here, and this is not looking too good, guys. I'm very discouraged about this. I haven't been to a Daytona 500 since 2012. For my NASCAR fans who've been religiously watching, the last Daytona 500 I'd gone to was the one where Juan Pablo Montoya, during another rain event, as they were trying to dry the track, it was a night race at this point. I believe it was about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. He was trying to catch up to the lead lap. They had the jet dryers out on the track. Didn't know that they could do that. And he crashed right into one, and it just burst into flames. That was the last Daytona 500 I went to. And haven't been able to go ever since. Haven't had the chance. Haven't had the time. I was obviously active duty military, so wasn't even around in the picture until most recently. So this is not good. This is the only high-res model. Got to make the thumbnail, guys. Here we go. For our NASCAR fans, there's the thumbnail. Not good. And then there's our giant arrow right there. Here we go. That's the thumbnail for the stream. Not good. Lots of rain for the Daytona 500 anyways. So this is the only high-res model we have available to us as of right now. If we switch over to the HRRR, obviously we go back to 18Z. It does not go out nearly far enough, but the HRRR is also bringing in that rain event. You could see not as expansive, so we're definitely going to have to keep a close eye on this. I think by tomorrow night, if not first thing Saturday morning, we'll have an idea of what's going to shake out. But in my humble opinion, and it's just my opinion looking at everything that's coming together, this just got worse. That's the classic. That's the best one. I can't wait to throw it in there just to be dorky when it comes tropical season. This just got worse with a huge arrow, especially if it does involve a landfall here in Florida. I'm going to make sure to ham up that arrow. It's going to be a giant arrow. Like if you imagine my head's the Florida Peninsula, I'm going to have a giant arrow. This just got worse. Landfall imminent. So yeah, we'll see what exactly shakes out. Let's go over to the 12-kilometer NAM. I think the 12K NAM goes out just a little bit further. Let's see. Yeah, see, so the 12-kilometer NAM is not giving us a big vote of confidence either. This is 1 a.m. Monday morning, and we still have the potential of seeing some rainfall, some residual shower activity on the backside of this very disorganized low pressure. And, you know, it's unfortunate, too, because we could use the rain, so that's a positive. There's still some areas in isolated West Florida that are still feeling the effects of a bit of a residual drought. That'll definitely be heavily satisfied as this moves through, so that's one thing. But on top of that, it's a bummer because it definitely looks like we're going to be pushing it to Monday. And I know folks like Mike's weather page may not be too excited about that. Or maybe he will be. I don't know. He's just been up there at Daytona. He hasn't been doing anything on any of his social media. He's off the radar currently. Again, to each their own. We shall see. I'm definitely hoping that we can get a little bit of a night race going on Sunday, but that is definitely TBD. We're not close enough to get a really good look at some simulated reflectivity models. If we take a look at what the Euro is thinking at 18Z, though, Euro is thinking we're going to have a Monday event. Monday will be all clear. You can see right up in through there is Daytona. Should be clear. If we go over to the icon is thinking the same thing. There you go. Same time. This is 7 a.m. Monday morning. You scroll through, and we are in the clear for a Monday race. If we go over to the Canadian model is on board as well, looking like a Monday race. We are all clear. So I'm telling you guys, confidence is brewing. Definitely thinking we're going to get more of an event on Monday. And I don't mean rain event this time. I mean, we're going to have an afternoon on Monday NASCAR event, I believe. Really? Is Frankie Muniz supposed to race? I'm not too sure. I do think you're going to end up seeing rain in Sarasota. Yeah, I do think this is the one, Mick and Marley. You're going to finally get it. It says 90% rain chance in my area for Sunday down here. That makes a lot of sense for sure. For sure. Two things I use too much, massive and watch this. I try to stay away from all the hype, but holy crap, it's everywhere. It is really everywhere. With this system in Florida for Sunday, I already saw someone say this is not good. I'm like, bro, it's just rain, like not even a No, it's... I'm so thankful that you are in agreement with me, because I'll tell you, like, the sensationalism all winter time has been intense. It's been extreme. I've never seen weather as trendy as it has been since winter started, and I mean trendy. We could have tornadoes, hail, strong winds, flash floods, Pineapple Express, whatever you want to put on the table, freezing rain, icing, you name it. And every other weather person, weather enthusiast, YouTube channel, regardless, is only going to look at the snow. Oh, we got F3 tornadoes in Mississippi, but did you see the snow? Dude, I just got hit across the head with 4-inch hail. Can you believe that? But did you see the snow? Hey, it's kind of looking like we might have Tropical Storm Vince out of nowhere in the month of February in the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, but did you see the snow over in the Great? It's like, just I low-key want to say just calm down, shut up already. We know there's snow out there. The snow is not going, it's winter time. That's like saying, guys, there's a hurricane and it's August. Like, no, Sherlock, but it is what it is. I'm not going to get into one of those tangents as well tonight. Kevin, welcome in. Travis, I did see you join a little bit ago. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you as well, sir. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. All right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes. And Sleep, it does seem like the rodent fill was correct. It's starting to look like we're getting some signals for an early spring, and I'm here for it. Here we go. So this is something that I wanted to bring up because I've also been seeing, and I think someone actually dropped in the chat a little bit ago before the stream started up, that we got to watch the predictions for 2024 because 2022 was above average and we didn't get very much. And I'm here to tell you, well, that wasn't really the case, because if you check this out, this is also very alarming. So 2022 is right in through here, and if you guys look, during the hurricane season, we were not necessarily average, but that's not that impressive. I'm following the line graph, and this is 2022. Look at the difference here. So 2022, we can't really compare. We did have a La Nina. We had a lot of dust out there, but we cannot compare the variable of the sea surface temps. And this was 2023. It doesn't look like a whole lot, but we were a whole degree to a degree and a half higher across the spectrum for 2023. And then check this out. Look at 2024. So this is 2023. Look at 2024. We're already above the temps that we saw in the peak of 2023. So this is concerning. It really makes you wonder, are we going to blow the doors off the car called the hurricane season in terms of our SSTs? Because if we continue on this trend, if we were to extrapolate this forward, let's say we're not suddenly going to drop into an ice age and just plummet. That seems very unrealistic. If we were to go using continuity and extrapolate that temperature line out, just following the natural ebbing and flowing of the pattern, that would mean that we're still going to increase here. We're going to drop down a little bit, and then we're going to go back up as we get through hurricane season, and that is terrifying. Now, that is 2 degrees. If you want to compare apples to oranges, that is 2 degrees, Charlie, on average warmer than what we had when the likes of Hurricane Ian blew through Florida. And if that isn't writing on the wall For the folks out there who want to make fun of certain channels, like my own, as a matter of fact, for at least discussing the possibilities of this hurricane season, then I don't know what is. Because at this point, I almost feel like Dennis Quaid in The Day After Tomorrow. Everybody was talking smack about him, about, this, and that, and he ended up being right. Now, I'm not over here saying that I'm right or that anybody who is speculating a bad hurricane season is correct and that's the way to go. No, but what I'm saying is we have a lot of different signals. We have a lot of different symptoms, guys, that would tell us well in advance this is something we need to monitor. No one out here is saying it's time to panic. No one out here is saying it's time to loot your local Walmart or your Best Buy and grab a 100-inch TV because all hell's going to break loose. That's not what's happening here. But the fact of the matter is we're switching out of an El Nino. We were already extremely above average for 2023, but El Nino was the variable that was not there to play. So everything else was essentially ripped off the table. So in this case, we're getting rid of El Nino. The independent variable of the whole situation, El Nino, is going away. So that means we're not going to have our cold pools, our outflows, our upper level shear that's going to destroy everything. So that's next to none, more than likely. On top of that, we're already looking much hotter, dramatically hotter. In fact, this time, what day is it? It's the 15th. This time last year, we were at 20.8 degrees Charlie on average in the Atlantic. As of today, we are 21.1. So we are a full degree hotter, and it's only February. So again, if you were to use the basic means of extrapolating it forward and you go with the natural rhythm, you're going to go up, you're going to trough, and then you're going to ridge again, and then we're going to trough as we get back into the winter time. This is where we need to be on guard. And if you look at that, we could possibly be all the way up into 22 degrees on average Charlie, which is not good. That's definitely not good. That is definitely more than enough to support some very, very intense cyclogenesis and rapid intensification, some of our favorite terminologies we used to use during the tropical season. And I'm going to put this out there, and if it destroys my channel, if it makes a lot of you turn off the Weather Center, go ahead. But you know what? As a future scientist, a up-and-coming meteorologist, and an extreme weatherman at that, I'm kind of excited for this. And I don't mean for the destruction and the strong whatever. No, I'm just excited to see what happens. I'm very curious to document what takes place. I'm very curious to make a running log of exactly what types of phenomena we see. And I'm not talking about just the hurricanes. I want to see what happens to our big picture weather pattern, what it does to our semi-permanent pressure systems, what it does to our frontal systems, what it does to our jet streams, what it does to outer lying areas, coastal regions, what it does to our Florida sea breeze. I'm very curious to see exactly what happens because, as you can see here, this is the norm. This was the norm. We are outside of the norm. We are into the twilight zone. So we will have to see exactly what happens. I'm all for the twilight zone. For those of you who've been following my channel for a while, you know I'm a spooky fan. So anything that has to do with spooky mystery, suspense, and anything Twilight related, I'm here for it. 175%. So we shall see exactly what takes place. Sorry, I was just checking one of my college class team chats because it's blowing off right now. Okay, so another thing I wanted to pull up was not necessarily this. I wanted to show you guys I've managed to find and how to manipulate weathermodels.com. Can you guys still see okay? I just noticed that my screen is not in the most adequate area. Let me move this around a little bit. Okay, so I've managed to find our European ensembles. The European ensembles. And what this is going to be is just like our CFS, our CANSIPs, and our other Climo data. We're going to look at what the Euro is thinking for as we go down the road. And I thought this was very interesting as well, because I know a lot of folks out there, their favorite thing is, if it ain't on a Euro, then it ain't happening. So, all right, we're going to show the Euro then. Let's do the Euro then. So this is April of 2024. This is May of 2024, and notice how we already have our tropics starting to kind of kick up. Now, I'm not saying we're going to have tropical cyclones or anything out here, but you're noticing that there is a trend here, and there are a little bit of indications that our precip is going to go above average as early as March. And the reason I had our CFS up here as well is because if you look, as we go through time, as early as the back end of March into April, notice how our Caribbean is also going to start getting busy. The CFS is thinking as early as the beginning of April, we're going to start to see a little bit of activity starting to flare up. And by activity, I just mean thunderstorm activity, potentially some tropical-like thunderstorms starting to pop off, which means as we roll into May, we may want to start to watch that a little bit. So this is where it gets very exciting. This is now June. Take a look at June, guys. This is July. And then look at how the MDR comes alive. And check this out. Are you guys noticing a pattern here? You guys picking up what I'm putting down? You guys picking up what I'm putting down? I wish I could zoom in a little bit on this. This is kind of a big picture. Let me see if I just go to Atlantic. There we go. That's a little bit of a closer view. Now, hopefully you guys can see a little bit better. And now this is not the CANSIPS. This is not the CFS. This is nothing else. This is our good old-fashioned European model. And for August, even the Euro is thinking a very active main development region, a very active Caribbean, and a potential signature of something trying to blast through Florida. And I'm not making that up. You guys look, this is what the model is thinking is going to be the favorable track, the favored track. Something is going to try to sneak its way through the MDR. We're going to have some long track systems. You see these pockets of drier air. That would also indicate that the European model is thinking that we're going to have a very good dominant ridge out here, and a trough somewhere nestled in over the United States to drive these systems up and through either Florida, the Greater Antilles, up through the Bahamas, maybe affecting the Carolinas and Georgia. We could have a Cape Hatteras hurricane event this year. So, you know, these are, again, writings on the wall. Writings on the wall, and I thought this was very interesting to pull it up on the Euro. I didn't know that the Euro could go that far out. And look at what the Euro is thinking. Euro is also on board with some very hot temperatures, with some areas of 2.5 degrees above the average here. Everything else being about a good 1 degree to 2 degrees on average above what the normal temps are. So, yeah, I don't know. That's all I'm going to say. And now I'm pretty sure if we go back to the model lab, I think we can also look at the GFS. Let's see if we can find the GFS. Let's see. Bear with me. We're going to kind of look through our little catalog here. This is why I love this website so much. Let us see here. So we have Euro monthly. Let's see. CFS monthly. GFS steering winds. GFS ensembles, GFS 35 day. So maybe the GFS does not have a seasonal forecast. Maybe not. If it does, if anybody out there does know if the GFS has a seasonal forecast, let me know. I'm not seeing it on here either. I'm staring at it and I just can't see it. Oh, what's this? NOAA SST. Let's take a look at this. I have not... Ooh, did we just discover a new tool? We may have discovered a new tool. Let's take a look at this. So let's go to the Atlantic. Can I go to the Atlantic? That's the South Atlantic. There's the tropical Atlantic. Very good. So this looks like... So this looks like an NCEP NOAA model for the sea surface temps. Let's see if it actually goes that far in advance, or is this just an overlay? Nope, never mind. This is just an overlay. I got excited. Oh, well. But this will be a good tool for continuity. Let's see, does it stop at 16? Oh, yeah, it does. It stops at 16. So let's go to February. February stops at 15. Yep. All right, so disregard. I got all hyped up, and this is not a forecast model. This is just the SST temps out there currently. And, you know, those SST temps out there are still very favorable. Very favorable, which is not good. I know I keep saying that, and it's probably going to be turned into a thumbnail, but, What do we got here? I get excited when I hear thunder and I see the dark clouds. Do you think Raymond, Illinois could have 5 inches of snow tomorrow? I don't know about 5 inches of snow. I haven't really looked too much at the snow, to tell you the truth, because snow has been dwindling, but we shall see. I'll go ahead and take a look before we end the live stream here in about 10 or so minutes. Zenflow, I think it may be a busy early season. I do think so. Same here, Zen, love good storms. Valerie Smith, shocking face, shocked emoji. That's what I thought as well. It is cray-cray, Leah. I do agree. David is pretty cool. Eric, thank you very much for that. Yeah, taking photos and videos of lightning, that honestly is sick. Sorry if you answered it, started me at the beginning. Oh, Anonymous, that's okay. I do like Levi from Tropical Tidbits. It'll be nice to finally tune into some of his vlogs and live streams again like before as well. You know, I'd be lying, guys. I like tornadoes. I don't, let me rephrase that. You know, tornadoes are cool. No, let me rephrase that again. Tornado weather is tornado weather, and severe weather, it gives us something to talk about. But at the same time, I'd be lying if I told you that I didn't live and die by the tropics. You know, that's the main thing I love about Florida. You know, you're front and center for the hurricane seasons, and I'm definitely looking forward to it in a variety of different ways. And let's see here. What else did I have pulled up that I wanted to show you guys? I don't think I had it all pulled up. So you know what? Let's go ahead and take a quick glance at the anonymous snow forecast. Let's take a look at the Northeast and see if we can get a little bit of Illinois in here for us and see what they're thinking. So yeah, no, the NOAA blend is thinking 2 to 3 inches max, which makes a lot of sense. Let's go on over to Pivotal Weather real quick. Take a look at what Pivotal Weather is thinking. Pivot the Pivotal Weather forecast. Pivot through the Pivotal forecasts. Sorry, I'm just being silly now. And let's go over to the SHREF, see what the SHREF is thinking for up in the Midwest. Take a look at another short-range ensemble forecast. That's not the one that we want. Let's see, is there an actual Midwest? South Central, Ohio, would the Ohio Valley do it? There we go. Let's look at the Ohio Valley and see if we get a higher indication using the SHREF now. Go through time. Yep, so the SHREF is right on board with the NOAA blend of models for an average of 1 to 3 inches of snow as that very fast-moving clipper system comes through. So, Anonymous, if you're still there in the chat, I would definitely think we're going to be on the low side with this snow event. So if anybody's trying to give you the hope of 5 inches, 10 inches, historic, like we've seen all winter long, I don't think that's going to be the case. Looks like there is one signature of 5 inches, and that's over the mountains in West Virginia. Oh, I think I know exactly which one you're talking about, Eric, where Reed and Jim Cantori chase a tornado together. I revisit that a lot more than I probably should. But there you have it, guys. That's about it. We are going to go ahead and start wrapping up the live stream. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. Thank you all for once again being a very wonderful crowd. It's been a great time. And tomorrow we may do a full-fledged segment. I'll tell you the truth, we may. I have a lot to do first thing in the morning, so I might not have time to do one. I might try to do an abbreviated video during my lunch break in between my shift. We shall see, but, you know, all in all, we really don't have too much to talk about right now, so a small part of me kind of wants to take at least a day to take a break and not worry about YouTube and doing a whole bunch of social media jazz, but we'll see. We'll see what we wake up to tomorrow. How close are we? I would go over CPC data, but it doesn't look like we have their updated outlook for February just yet. I did take a quick glance before clocking out a shift earlier, and it looks like they still have their preliminary charts and graphs for January. I want to say in the next 2 days or so, we're going to get new CPC guidance. In the next 2 days, I think it's the 17th, we get all the bar graphs and the line graphs and their charts updated. All right, and Nazario, good as always. Have a good evening and catch you later. Sam Mastapasta, thank you very much. TRG Tornado, one of the best out there. Anyone like Pico's Hank? I have been oh yeah, Pico's Hank. I've watched a lot of his YouTube and I look at a lot of his Instagram content as well. Awesome photographer, awesome storm chaser, and he does some teaching now too, if I'm not mistaken. Valerie Smith, have a wonderful evening, ma'am. Thank you very much for joining us. All right, guys, we will see you again very soon. If you don't already follow me, please, I encourage you to follow me on my Instagram, my TikTok, and my X, slowly but surely trying to boost those views and that followership as well. TikTok, we're slowly getting there. As always with the slow season, there's not a whole lot to talk about right now, so we're kind of trying to grow. We're still growing slow and steadily, trying to get for that 6,000 follower threshold. And obviously, we're trying to keep the YouTube channel going as well. We're well into the 6,000 range, so hopefully we will be getting closer to 7,000 as we start headed towards tornado season. And then next thing you know, everybody out there with the trends is going to be historic tornado outbreak, historic funnels, historical tornado strength. Something's going to, extremely tornadoes. My X is the same thing as everything else across the board, Sam. It's going to be WX Center Nazario. There is no underscore because I don't think X allowed me to put it up there. X, the old Twitter, X, WX Center Nazario. I need to get more in the habit of posting stuff there, but truthfully, every time I get on X, I only see very, very scientific posts, and it's like, okay, I got to make sure whatever I dig out of social media or on the internet, I put it in there and I give a lengthy description and, a diagnosis, as opposed to just, look out! Yeah, tornado Vince forming from Tropical Storm Vince over Oklahoma. But yeah, folks, if you'd like my X, I'll drop it in the chat really quick. It's all just one word, WX Center Nazario for the X. And trying to get more routine on posting at least a couple times a week on that. And everywhere else, I usually do daily updates. And on YouTube, I'm trying to keep the rhythm going. So, yeah, that's all she wrote. Again, guys, I thank you very much for joining me on this Thursday evening. I hope you've had a very pleasant week. I hope that the weather has treated you nice and well in your neck of the woods, and I really sincerely appreciate each and every one of you's support. It has been a phenomenal ride through this YouTube and social media journey. It has been an exhausting journey, but it's been a very enlightening and very experimental journey, and there's still so much more to come, and I'm stoked. I'm really stoked to see exactly what we can do together as we continue to roll through 2024, especially for as much of an erroneous year as we have ahead of us. Not only from the tropics, but just as a lot of things start to shift from El Nino to La Nina, our oscillating patterns in the North Pacific, the North Atlantic start to shift. Our jets start to shift, and our ocean temperatures continue to shape-shift because they're definitely not playing by the rules. So, yeah, we have uncharted territory to wander into, and we're going to do it together here at the Weather Center, folks. We'll talk to you again very soon, and as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop them in the comments section below, or drop me a line on many of my other aforementioned social medias, and I'll happily get back to you at my earliest convenience. And thank you for watching. Until next time, this is Weather Center Nazario. Mick and Marley, thank you very much. I do appreciate that. By the way, before we cut the stream, I will do my best to enjoy Daytona. We're all going to have a great time. I'm super pumped for that as well. We'll see exactly what shakes out, if it's a Monday race or not. But yeah, guys, again, until next time, this is Weather Center Nazario, signing out.